Welcome to our presentation titled Pandemic Pedagogy: Transition to a Virtual Journal Club in Anatomy. Journal clubs have been around since the late 1800s and involve a group of like-minded individuals with similar interests who get together to read and discuss journal articles. This facilitates the development of critical appraisal skills, the understanding of statistics, regular reading of the literature, and promotes the integration of article results into practice. The Journal Club in Anatomy is a compulsory module for the BSc Honours in Clinical Anatomy and Morphological Sciences at our institution. The aim of the Journal Club is to improve scientific communication and critical appraisal skills of the literature. Traditionally, a Journal Club was held in a face-to-face format until the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of our teaching was converted to an asynchronous, fully online format. However, this was not deemed optimal for the Journal Club as it is discussion-based. The aim of this study was to develop, implement, and appraise a virtual journal club that comprised of synchronous and asynchronous formats in anatomy during the COVID-19 pandemic by using an evidence-based approach to explore the perceptions of the participating students. Our study design was qualitative exploratory within an interpretive or constructivist paradigm. We received ethical approval and institutional permission before commencing the study. In the development of the journal club format, the literature was first searched for studies reporting results on virtual journal clubs within medicine, and the students were also asked about the access to devices and their internet connection. The journal club was then implemented using a hybrid model where synchronous sessions were held over Microsoft Teams and asynchronous discussions were continued on a WhatsApp group. The journal club met for 1 hour every second week and read prescribed articles based on a specific topic. This was the same scheduling that we adhered to before the COVID-19 pandemic. We evaluated the students' perceptions of the journal club by using an open-ended questionnaire to the 2020 cohort, and then we held semi-structured interviews with an external researcher with the 2021 cohort. In 2020, 3 out of the 5 students responded and completed the questionnaire, and in 2021, 2 out of the 3 students participated in the interviews. Both of these responses were analyzed for thematic analysis by Braun and Clark's 6-phase process using inductive coding. 2 themes developed from the analysis of the students' responses, that of the virtual format and the content discussed in the journal club, as well as the formation of a community of practice amongst the journal club members. Sub-themes for the virtual format were knowledge, time, challenges, and positive, and for community of practice were social interaction and mentoring. The participants found the content relevant and useful and implemented what they learned into their thesis. Both cohorts mentioned the abstract writing exercise was definitely one of their favorites, as they had to write an abstract for the annual academic day later in the year. With regards to the timing of the journal club, both cohorts were satisfied with the frequency of meetings every 2 weeks for 1 hour, as well as the time taken to prepare for the sessions. However, they did have a few problems with the scheduling of the topics. For example, even though the proposal writing is the very first session of the year, they found that the content was sometimes covered a little bit later after they had already had to submit their proposals. And they also found that some other sessions could have perhaps gone a bit later in the year. Both cohorts had similar challenges with regards to the online format, namely the lack of visual and social cues, as we did not have our videos on to save on bandwidth, so that you couldn't always see when someone else was going to speak and the students would interrupt each other, although this did get better throughout the year. And then also students commented that sometimes they struggled with their connectivity, as not having access to Wi-Fi or data. The students also experienced the virtual journal club positively, and the 2021 cohort commented on how quickly they adapted from having in-person discussions to a virtual method, but still having the same in-depth discussion and result. And they also commented that the WhatsApp group was experienced positively, and it also allowed them to integrate journal club information into their daily life, and also it helped them to share information with a group that might be relevant to everyone. The staff and students formed a virtual community of practice with support, guidance, and collaboration amongst each other. Both cohorts commented on the opportunity for social interaction that Journal Club provided, particularly being able to check in and make sure that everyone was still doing all right and handling the workload. Mentoring was also provided within the Journal Club, particularly in the 2021 cohort, as the students who attended Journal Club in 2020 also hosted sessions in the 2021 group as they were now master students. The students enjoyed learning from the more senior students as well as the facilitators. And I really enjoy the one quote which I feel sums up everything in Journal Club, which says, "It's as if JC teaches one to be street smart in the academic world." So the students reflecting also upon their academic growth as well as social interaction and mentoring that was provided within Journal Club. Journal Club is a signature pedagogy of the anatomical sciences, and their learning outcomes are to improve scientific communication, reading, and critical appraisal of the literature, as well as familiarity with current relevant literature and topics of debate within anatomy. And Journal Club can be viewed through theoretical lenses of social learning, community of practice, as well as distributed leadership. After an initial adjustment to the online environment, all students enjoyed the sessions and perceived the content as relevant and enjoyable. They did mention that the timing of the content was not always matched to the course timeline. It has been endeavored to match up the scientific writing sessions with when it is expected that students will be busy with these sessions on their theses. However, other sessions such as publication and peer review could be moved later in the year. The 2021 cohort had two face-to-face sessions between the COVID waves, which they really enjoyed, and their WhatsApp group was used for continuing the discussion and sharing content, as well as memes for motivation. Thus, the students and staff formed a virtual community of practice within Journal Club. The community of practice research theory states that staff and students form a community of support, guidance, and collaboration. This has three parts to it, which is the creation of meaning through participation and reification. Encounters between faculty and students allow for community learning, and mutual engagement increases access to knowledge and practices with accountability to one another. Virtual journal clubs were utilized prior to lockdown, but these were by choice and careful planning and consideration. The COVID-19 pandemic forced a rapid transition to virtual online education. But it did, however, fast-track online development, and several studies have reported on the experiences of virtual journal clubs. There is one systematic review as well of the educational benefits of the online journal club, which states that it is comparable to face-to-face journal clubs. Some of the advantages are a positive experience and improved learning effectiveness. Journal clubs also bridge geographical and social distancing barriers, allowing participants to participate from wherever they are situated as long as they have an internet connection. They also provided social interaction and near-peer tutoring, as we saw with our journal club, as well as innovative technology use. The disadvantages of an online journal club are the lack of verbal communication and body language cues, technological problems, distractions, and a loss of interaction, active discussion. We did experience these in our journal club as well. However, the students really did endeavor to participate and to overcome technological problems. The conclusions of our study was that the staff and the students adapted rapidly to the virtual journal club. The teaching and learning benefits were maintained in the online environment, and the members formed a virtual community of practice. It is planned that we will have more face-to-face sessions in 2022 and possibly a hybrid format depending on the COVID-19 restrictions. I would firstly like to thank the honors students for participating and contributing to the Journal Club and making the virtual format a success, as well as to those who participated in the research project. I would also like to thank my research team and Quentin Vessels for conducting the interviews with the students.